Hey everybody, how you doing again? So today what I want to talk about, I'd love to just get right into it, is to challenge your limitations. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on challenging our limitations. So first of all, what is a limitation? Limitation is a limiting rule or circumstance. It's a restriction. Notice the keyword limiting and restriction. It's a barrier. It's a wall that you've put up, something, a blockade. Now, have you heard the term reaching your full potential? So that's becoming successful in your goals and achieving what you set out to do. Those two things can't live in the same life together. Once you've put up a barrier, it's hard to reach your full potential because now you have something blocking your way. So what we want to try and do is we want to try and break down those barriers. We got to figure out what they are and then figure out steps to do to get past them. Uh, so first thing we have to understand though is that we set up barriers for ourselves. Whether or not you notice it, whether or not you realize that you do it, we've set up barriers as well as when we grew up, barriers were set for us. Most of the limitations, they did come from what we were taught. They're often things that weren't even meant to be taught. They were just, set. Parents taking care of their kids, making sure they don't get hurt, set up a lot of barriers. Some of them, actually are pretty healthy. Don't play on the freeway. That's a good barrier, right? But what we need to do is we need to grow through those and past those because they could be stopping us from doing what we need to do or want to do. Maybe not even need, but what we want to do. Something that we would love to do and would be make our lives more enjoyable. More joy into our lives. So one thing I want you to look at is in your life, have you ever said, "Nah, I can't do that. That looks too hard. That I don't think that's something for me. That's not for me." Or have you ever tried something, failed at it, and been like, "Well, I didn't think I could do it anyway," or man, I always screw that up. Well, what's really behind that tearing ourselves down? What's behind that? I'm not going to try it anyway. I think a big part of it is a fear of failure. A lot of us we don't want to fail, and so oftentimes we don't even try things because of that fear of failure. That's a huge barrier. That's a huge limitation that we've set on ourselves. Nobody wants to fail. That's obvious, but sometimes you have to fail at something in order to succeed. In the sense of practice. Ice skaters go out and practice for the Olympics. They fell down 100 times on that ice. Skateboarders, they fell down so many times before they landed that trick. Failure does happen on the way to success. Now, if we stop short and we fall and we hurt ourselves or something happens and we put up that barrier and that limitation of saying, nope, not doing it again, sometimes it's for the good. We don't want to keep hurting ourselves. Other times it's because we had that failure and it hurt, not as much physically but mentally, and so we just put up a barrier and said, no, I'm not doing it again. I'm not going to try it again. Well, that's one thing I want to work on today. One thing that has been said to us from very young, and we probably say it. I know I've said it, and I'm working really hard not to anymore. I just want to bring it up to help you. Is the words "be careful." Be careful actually is telling the person that you're saying it to that I you might not make it, and I have doubt in you. I have doubt that you're going to succeed at what you're doing, no matter how small the doubt may be. There's doubt there. Be careful means, yeah, there's potential that you're not going to succeed at what you're doing. Well, there may be truth in that. We don't want to sit and say it over and over to somebody because then they're going to start doubting themselves and then barriers are going to be put up for them. When kids go out and ride their bikes, oh, be careful for cars, or be careful, put your helmet on, or wouldn't it be great just to go, you know what, go for it. Go for it. You got this. You're going to make it. You're not going to get hit by a car. You put out what the problem could be because safety, you need to have safety. You don't just throw a kid in the street and let them ride their bike. You have to explain, watch out for cars. Don't, ride in front of one. They could hurt you, possibilities such as that. But still give them the full support of, what, go for it. You got this. You're going to make it. Think if someone would have supported you in that way. Think if someone would have said to you, I don't know if you played sports in school or anything else like that, but they were just like, you know what, you got this. You're going to succeed. You got this. Instead of to be careful, okay, watch out for this, oh no, look out for that, maybe we shouldn't do it. Just, you got this, go for it. That would have torn down a lot of barriers, a lot of walls, a lot of things that do affect us now as we get older. Some people, they're still in their teens, their 20s, 30s, 50s, 80s, whatever it is, that there's barriers that have been put up that we want to break down. Safe is good. Safe is great. Safe is wonderful. You always want to know what could happen. I mean, that's obviously, I'm going to go for a hike in the woods. You need to know if there's bears and cougars and coyotes and things like that, because you don't want to be foolish. But don't let things like that stop you from going and doing, maybe don't hike there. Maybe find, precautions that you need to take of don't walk around with meat hanging out of your pocket, because then a bear's going to get you. But go to some place where there aren't bears and go for a hike. Don't just stop. You know what? I'm not going to hike. There's bears and cougars and tigers and oh my. Don't let that stop you from doing what it is that you wanted to do. Don't let those limitations get in the way of you reaching a goal that you want to reach. So, how do we challenge those limitations? We need to pinpoint what the limitations are. We need to find out what limitations that we have. I want you to think of something. Think of something that you've wanted to do. Think of something that you've gotten so close to it, but then you shrink back. Then you get that feeling, that feeling in the pit of your stomach. And you know what that is? That's the fight or flight. Sometimes you run away from it. That's the flight part. What I want you to do is when you get that feeling, I want you to fight through it. I want you to go with the fight side of it. And I don't mean physically fight something, but say there's somebody that you've been wanting to talk to. You go to the same coffee stand and there's a guy or a girl and you just want to say hi and ask them, hey, to sit down and have a cup of coffee with you or something, whatever. But you've gotten that feeling in your stomach and then you don't do it. You back down. What I want you to try and say something to them. Just talk to them. Or you wanted to ride a motorcycle. You want to go for a hike. You've wanted to take that spin class. You've seen people in it when you're at the gym, but you just keep backing down from it. There's a barrier there. There's something there that's affecting you. There's something stopping you. So this is what I want to do. What I would really love to do for a week, for 7 days. I want to challenge you to pick one thing, just one thing that you've shied away from, one thing that, oh, I can't do that, or, oh, no, I'd screw that up, or whatever it is. And you know what? Even if you do mess up, it's okay. It's okay. What I want you to do, though, is I want you to do it. I want you to push past that. Because even if you mess up, you still tried to do it, and you broke down a barrier. But instead of messing up, you could succeed at it. That cycling class that you've been walking past could be the best class you've ever taken at a gym. That person that you talk to could end up being your future husband, wife, or, longtime girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it is. That chance that you can take, that barrier that you have in your way, if you crush that barrier and just move right past it and push into it, could be something very successful on the other side. Yes, we know the issues that could arise. We know the things that could happen from it. Don't let that stop you from doing what it is that you're trying to do. So what I'm asking the next 7 days, pick something. Pick one of those things, whatever it is, because some of you have it in your mind already. Some of you already know what it is. Some of you are already like, it's that. Grab a hold of it. Send me a private message. If you got my phone number, give me a call, text me, whatever it is. In 7 days, I would love to know what it is that your barrier was that you went through. Succeeded, not succeeded, doesn't matter. But I would love to know what it is, the barrier that you jumped through. If you don't know how to do it, if there's something where you're like, I just can't make that extra step and you'd like help, get a hold of me. I'll be happy to walk you through anything that I can help you with. Private message if you don't have my phone number. Just send me an email, send me a message on Facebook, on YouTube, whatever it is. Well, Facebook's more private, but I'll be happy to help you in any way that I can to go ahead and cross this barrier. But next Friday, in a week from now, I would love to hear about your experience. I would love to hear about big or small, it doesn't matter. It does not matter how big or small it is. But I would love to hear your experience on what it is that you step through, what barrier it is that you kick down. Instead of going around it and just accepting that barrier to be there, I'd love to hear what you did to jump over it, to get past it. Again, pass, fail, doesn't matter. This isn't a pass, fail thing. This is just I'm going to kick that barrier down and I'm going to try this time. So, I look forward to hearing from you guys during this next week would be great. Let me know what's going on and how it's going. If it takes you 7 days to build up the courage to do it, that's fine. But I'd love to hear next week. Send me a message of what happened. That would be great to hear. All right. Well, I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I'll talk to you guys soon.